everybody, and welcome to our last interview from this second series with Booksellers Revealed. This kind of series, this series of interviews we started last year during the pandemic, because we were wondering how our fellow colleagues, bookseller colleagues, are doing, not only from Romania, but from all across Europe and all across the world, because as our favorite bookseller writer, that's how we call him, Jorge Carrion, said in an interview he published, I think in New York Times or in the New Yorker, I can't remember, that all bookshops are local and global. So that's why we're here today at this interview with Hannu and Petra. Hi.
Hi.
They are from Helsinki, from Finland, from Rosebud Bookshops. And just before I'm going to start asking them about their relationship with books and about their bookshops, I'm going to ask them a personal question, a personal curiosity, because Romanian media is full of articles about how great is Finland. Regarding the education, we have a lot of books translated into Romanian about Finnish education. And of course, a lot of articles about how Finnish really are good readers, and they really read a lot of books. They have a lot of bookshops, and they have this amazing national library that opened a few years ago, 2 or 3, I can't remember, 3 years ago, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so is anything that comes to Romanian media about how great Finland is regarding education and about bookshops and reading and libraries, is any of it true?
It's all true, of course.
I was sure about it.
Education is great. We have very good libraries. The library system has been in existence for a very long time. I'm just going to ask him as well. And now I'm going to speak Finnish. Meidän kirjastojärjestelmä ja kirjakauppoja, että onko meillä sun mielestä niin hyvä kirjastojärjestelmä ja sitten koulutus.
Yeah, I think we have very good library organization and bookshops. And we have always been very much readers, very big readers in Finland. And of course, libraries are free to borrow books, and in every our government's money dealing, it's very important to give exact and enough big money for libraries, free libraries, and in every place, in a small place also, of course, in big cities, but also in very small. For example, when I was young, 60 years ago, in every school it was quite big library.
Yeah, every school had a library. That's true. Some schools still do have a library.
Yeah, of course, still, but it have been long time. But the same problem with bookshops everywhere, as we.
We all struggle a little. Yeah, we were struggling, yeah. But about the library, it's very important for the authors as well, because they get money for each book.
It's borrowed.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
It's an important income for them as well.
Yes, well, this question I had in the beginning is because Romania, regarding its readers and regarding the number of books every person in Romania, regarding the statistics,
yes,
how many books people are buying in a year, we're almost on the last place in Europe.
Right. Okay.
That's why I asked you this question, because I think we have a lot to learn from your system, from your the way you're handling bookshops, the way you're handling all this cultural and educational stuff, because this is one of the problems we have in Romania. We only have 200 bookshops all across the country, for example. And yeah, that's why I wanted to start with this question, because I knew that everything that's in the media that comes to Romania, it's true, but I wanted to hear it from you.
Yes,
especially.
okay.
So for the people that are watching this interview from Romania, especially, they can really appreciate it, that it's true, and think about it, and help us get more readers for every bookshop and library here in our country.
Yes,
so let's start with the story. Before going to the story, the Rosebud Bookshop story and how everything started, and before you tell us about the bookshops, I want to ask each one of you, how did your love affair with books started? How did you end up in this business?
Well, Hannu can probably start. Miten sä aloitit kirjabisnessissa? This is a long story. This is a
well, we love stories. That's why we're booksellers. We love long stories.
Mine is like shorter. I can, well, if I start, I went to study in Oxford in England, and I started working in Waterstones while I was still a student, because I loved books. And I had a friend who was working in Waterstones, and they needed somebody to do Saturday shifts. So I got the job, and that's where my sort of work in bookselling started. I also studied publishing at university. So I worked in England for roughly 10 years, and then I came back to Finland. I worked in finance for whatever reason.
Finance, there's a
step. That's right, yes. And I did that for 3, 4, 5 years, something like that, and then I returned to bookselling, and that was in 2012. So 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Hannu's career in bookselling started how many years ago? 40 years ago.
Yeah, about 1980. I made I had a small printing place for printing machines, and after that, 1986, we started with 6, 7 guys, small, very independent publishing house, and my and our first bookshops came some 1990, and now almost 30 years have been. In the beginning, the bookshops was also very small. I calculated about, I have had about 100 separated small bookshops in Helsinki, most in Helsinki, some in Tampere, and now in Kuopio, have been more than 10 years. And about 20 years ago, I got those very big art museum bookshops. Kiasma, the biggest art museum in Finland, and they was very, very nice, very beautiful places. And my idea was quite different, and mostly in art museum bookshops, they have often they have, not always, but often they have just cards and some gifts for tourists, and especially for the exhibition. But my idea was to have together very big quantity of different titles, book titles. Selection, maybe 5,000-6,000 different art books, also theoretical books, and yeah, of course I like it. But 3-4 years ago, a little about 3 years ago, the state wanted to make itself as it makes the art museum business. He wanted to make also the bookshop business, and then I have to give my bookshops to Finnish State Art Museum or something like that. The official name. Yeah, but now next week we are opening 1,300 square meters big bookshop in the center of Helsinki, and
wow,
that's very
wow,
more than 40,000 different titles now in beginning, and all the time I hope every day a little more. More and more. Yeah, that's very short story.
That's a really short story. That's great. So can you tell us a little bit more about the Rosebud Bookshops? Because I understood they are all over Helsinki, and in the late years there are some bookshops also in other cities in Finland. But it started as a small independent publishing house.
That's right. Yeah. She wants to hear more about Rosebud. What kind of bookshop? We're independent.
Yes, exactly. I know. That's why I wanted you to say, because
we like he said before, he started as a publisher.
Yes.
And at one point, 2006, Hannu sold Like publishing house to Ottawa, which is one of our biggest publishing houses.
Okay.
But kept the book selling.
Okay.
Which is Rosebud. Rosebud has always been there, and Like, the publishing house, came later.
Yeah.
Now we're publishing books again.
Okay. Well, see, this is something I didn't know.
Yes, and well, it's some 10 titles a year or something like that. And we have also started a sort of company that does spoken word.
Wow.
Books. So I've read some texts on a tape. Unfortunately, it hasn't been published yet, but I've tried. So yeah, independent. We're not attached to any publishing house except for
exactly, for your own, of course. Yeah. Awesome.
But our style of book selling is very different to say Academy Bookstore and Suomalainen Kirjakauppa, which are the biggest chains. We Hannu can correct me if I'm wrong, but we take pride in selling lots and lots of non-fiction books. We store small booksellers, small publishing houses. We take their books. We sell self-published books as well. We have with this new bookshop, we're going to have lots of different happenings, events in the store, and it's not going to be just like author interviews. It's going to be discussions. Topics are, they vary from poetry to politics and everything in between. We are going to have art exhibitions. There's going to be dance. There's going to be music. It's like a cultural center of Helsinki, that sort of thing. But I think the bottom line is that we want to give everybody a chance, every author, every publisher, and Hannu's idea is to keep Finnish language alive. Books kind of stay alive for a very short period of time. They are in print for, say, 2-3 years max. And Hannu has a tendency of buying the last copies of books. So we have books from like 20-30 years ago. We have classics, you know, you can't find those books anywhere else except for Rosebud. And that's his thing. He's that's how he's created this like, massive selection of books. It's unique. You can't find anything like this anywhere else in the country. And I'm very proud and happy to say this. And that's sort of Rosebud. And we have our own sort of ethos, if you like, as well. You know, mitä me nyt I'm asking him in Finnish, että mitä me sun mielestä edustetaan?
No. Science.
Yeah, we represent science.
The non-fiction titles which are scientific true. Of course, in politics we have much political titles, especially write about Russian. Now last year's what happens in US. And maybe in one some words said to try to be as critical as possible against the organization and the world we have around us.
And that reflects in our sort of
every time
selection of events as well.
This is really true.
Yeah. We're always asking. Yeah, that's true. We're seeking. Yeah, I think we're brave and we're independent in every single sense of the word. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Because this was another question. I'm not going to ask it because you just answered it. How do you see your bookshop as a place from this point of view? That it's a critical place, that you have to talk about the things that are happening around you, and you have to point them out and talk about them. So you just answered this question, which is awesome.
Yeah. That's very much our focus.
Yeah.
And it shows in our sort of selection and range of books as well.
And also in events, you said, because as I understood, you organize a lot of events.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So you see the bookshops the bookshops, yes, as a cultural place, a cultural hub where you have to talk about books, what's happening around the world, what can you do about it, and you have and to better understand it and do something and take your own conclusions. And that's amazing. So as a bookseller, as booksellers, as bookshop owners, as publishers, what do you think? How do you feel? What do you think it's at the core, at the heart of our business? The books or the readers, the customers, the people that are buying the books? Or how do you see this symbiosis?
Mikä on tämän alan niin kuin sydän? Onko se lukijat vai kirjallisuus vai se niin kuin symbioosi näiden kahden välillä?
No, maybe we have to make two lines in beginning, fiction and non-fiction. Of course, it is not so easy, and that is not just there, but fiction and non-fiction. And in fiction, the main focus is in author. The author, writer makes the books, makes the story, and after that comes everybody in our business, in everything, publishers, bookshops, also customers, readers. The story have to be beauty and big, trying to be critical always. And then the non-fiction, it's so that then the main focus is there at the non-fiction. It have to be true. It have to be try to give something, not always, but in scientific meaning, the book which the author writes to the book, it have to be true, or it have to be try to be so true than it's possible now. After 1 to 10 years, maybe we don't trust anymore Einstein. Maybe we have another big guy. And but what is true now? And there as publisher, as I said, it is a little joke, but however, we don't wanna give you stories which you wanna read. We will give you stories and books which you have to read.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, a really good one.
I'm thinking about as a bookseller, my main interest is the customer, and I don't want to educate anybody, and I don't want to tell them what to read, but I want to give them options. So you know, like you said, what you should read or what you could read. So that's, I think, my sort of interest. To give people a chance to maybe read books that they didn't know exist, or didn't know they should read, or that sort of thing.
Yeah. So since Rosebud is really is a big independent bookshop chain, also a publisher, publishing books. What would you say to someone after all these years with what's happening today? What would you say to someone who thinks of opening an independent bookshop or to become a bookseller?
Mitä me sanottaisiin niille, jotka haluaa kirjamyyjäksi tai kirjakaupapitäjiksi? Go for it.
Maybe in the beginning, big thing is you have to have the passion.
Yeah, passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
this is not going to make you
love
rich.
Books and love stories and love the truthness, good things in the world. Yeah, you have to have that kind of passion. You wanna make this all the time. It's just not just work. Of course, it have to be it have to be normal work for people who are there using computer. but behind everything else.
Yeah.
And I think if you're thinking about setting up a bookshop, you should have a clear idea of what you want to sell, what kind of books that you want to have, because like in England a long time ago when I started working there in mid-90s, in 2000 or so, Tesco's and Sainsbury's started selling books. So the book selling has changed. So in that sort of sense, have a clear idea, or almost at least clear idea what you want to do, what kind of, if you want to have like a niche of some sort, to be a little bit different to all the, you know, main chain bookshops and all the food markets that sell books as well. But it's we love it.
Absolutely.
That's why we're doing it.
I wouldn't change this into, you know, I did that bit in finance, not my thing. Book selling is so much nicer.
Yeah, you were lost for a couple of years, but you came back to book selling. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I
Okay. What do you think is the role of a bookshop in their local community? Because I'm asking this question because I'm going back to Jorge Carrion, who says that bookshops can regenerate the social and the economic fabric of an area when it's opening. So what do you think is the role of the bookshop in their community? Thinking about, I mean, I know this is going to be a little bit difficult to say just a few things because you have a lot of bookshops, independent bookshops, but just as a general aspect.
I think the role is very different to, you know, if you
for each one of them.
Whether you open a shop here in Helsinki or a small town somewhere. That's the difference. Mikä sun mielestä on kirjakaupan rooli niin kuin yhteiskunnassa?
Of course, there are many things, but if I take one, maybe the most important for us, to try to do everything for our own language. Here, Finnish language, you have your own, and it's, I think it's very much different to read that same text in internet or listen phone books than to read it and to read a little older Finnish text, the language, also the official written language change all the time. But I think our very important work is to try to fight, especially against English, which is coming everywhere for us.
Although we are selling English books.
Of course, we have to speak Romanian and Finnish, and then we have talk between us. But now,
translator.
Translator. But
I think, you know, and like what we said before with our selection of books, because we are different to the other big bookshops in Helsinki, we want to sort of arouse that sort of question why, and we want to provide our readers and our customers with as wide selection as possible in various different subjects.
Great. Thank you very much for your answers. Yeah.
I think in a smaller place, of course, there's the you offer jobs as well.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. Exactly. So, because we are booksellers and we talked about our business.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Sorry.
Now I just remember what I was saying. Of course, it's the same with our language, but small bookshops and of course especially libraries, you have to have in every small places, every small cities and small villages, where you can always get some good classical text in your own language, home language, mother language.
Yeah.
And that's the main. When you ask what is the role for bookshops, then it as small as it can be. 20, 100, 1,000, some 100,000 titles in a beauty place where the bookseller or people who's working there knows what he's doing and he have passion. Yeah, but everywhere it have to be. If you don't have that, then you have just the internet, and then you will be always losing very important things.
Words, the language.
Words and your language, and then your soul.
Yeah.
Nothing after that.
Yeah.
Right.
Great. So thank you very much for your answers. And before saying goodbye, I would like to ask from each one of you just to give a recommendation of a book we should read, or one you read recently and it's on your mind right now, just to not finish this interview without some book recommendations. Because we have to talk about books constantly.
Yeah. We have to recommend books.
Yeah.
I might say Albert Camus' Stranger, because we've taken our bookshop's name from that particular book. It's very, it's an old book, but works in this time as well. Yeah, and the name and the message of the book works with our sort of our bookshop and our new shop in particular.
It's always so difficult.
I know. If you would ask me the same question, I would just.
And also Richard Powers' Overstory. That's another good book that everybody should read. I think he probably agrees. And there's a new book that's just coming out. Oh, it's just come out by Richard Powers. Wilderness or something like that.
I wanted to make some Romanian book, but I don't now get any. Sorry. Oh yeah, we have quite just a few translations.
Yeah.
But you should really recommend something Finnish, because I didn't. Paitim Statokci. I don't know how you. What's the correct pronunciation? We say Paitim Statokci in Finland. His book Bolla won the our biggest prize, literary prize in Finland, and now it's been shortlisted for the Kirkus Review Award in America. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the most beautiful Finnish writer. If you maybe you have translation it about it. Karpelaan and fiction get 2 times the biggest literary prize in Finland.
Okay.
Only guy who have got.
His mother tongue is Swedish, which is our other national language. And he wrote poetry and essays and
very deep beauty.
Yeah, beautiful
words.
Language. Yeah.
So,
not many, but beautiful.
Well, that's a really good thing. Yeah, it doesn't have to be many; it has to be beautiful. Yeah. Well, the author that comes to my mind from Finland that is translated, and she has a new book that is going to be out in bookshops, I think in October, is Sophie Oksana.
That I thought you might say Sophie. Yeah.
And I think she will also come to Romania here in October. But I think I'm giving some spoilers right now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Sophie is popular all over. And she's been translated into various different languages.
Yes. I've read her a few years ago. I mean, I had some troubles because it wasn't the right time for me to read her. So I kept her book at my nightstand, I think for about 2 years. I just couldn't. I just opened it really, no. But at one point, I put it in my bag. I had to wait for someone whom I was meeting for a coffee, and I had the book in my bag, and I opened it and I read it in one night. So that is the perfect time for Sophie Oksana.
Yeah.
Because with books, as an ending for this discussion, something that you also said, both of you, and something we also believe in, and every other bookseller we talked to in these 2 seasons of interviews said that with books you have to be patient, you have to have time and to wait for the right time for that book to come and to find his own reader.
Yeah, it's very true.
You have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah. That's right.
So thank you very much for everything. Hope to visit you in Helsinki. Who knows? Well, if you ever come to Romania, you can just write to us so we can meet. Maybe you will come to Prague, who knows?
And you can write to us if you ever come to Helsinki.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you very much.